outside of things regarding tiebreakers, who do you guys think will win the next match? I think Auke has a decent chance of winning, although Rens doesn't have a bad team. But with Van Grans winning 4-0 against Kimono, Auke has to win 5-0 or 6-0 to make it through to the next round. And he will go through if he wins 5-0 or 6-0. With 5-0, he'll win based on the second tiebreaker. With 6-0, he'll win based on the first. Rens just has to win to make it through to the next round. Or tie. But Rens can lose. No, actually, no. If Auke wins, Rens doesn't make it through. But if Auke wins with 4-0 or less, Van Grans is through with Kimono. The moment Auke loses their second Pokemon, Auke doesn't make it through. Auke wants to see exactly what Van Grans saw in like second or third turn of his match. Early game, imprison. It's going to be extremely hard for Auke to make it through to the next round. But if he wins, he'll at least not be last in his group, because that'd then be Rens. But outside of that, it's a sibling fight. Because Rens, the player that made the Rens Battle Pass, is my real-life brother. Unfortunately, my real-life brother is currently at a sports practice game. Is doing sports practice, so he can't actually watch this live. But he will certainly want to hear the results once he is back. He has a lot of faith in his Zigzagoon, especially. And Zigzagoon's setting up a Ho-Oh. Rens believes that Zigzagoon's sacrifice in round 1 set up Ho-Oh to let him get the win. Let's see what happens this time. Sibling fight, Auke versus Rens. Let's go. Yep, Chupa is indeed a squirrel! Ultra Ball team versus Master Ball team. Colava Roselia versus Pikachu Zigzagoon. One of the few times where you'll see the opening 4 Pokemon all be not fully evolved. I don't think any other team has two. Any other teams have 2 not fully evolved Pokemon as the first 2. Probably the lowest average base stat total of this 4 starting Pokemon for the entire tournament. Pikachu goes first. Embargo. Every time I see Embargo, I think it's in prison. It's not. It's Embargo, which doesn't really work yet until we're about to run out of, or have run out of points. Here's Zigzagoon that's gonna get hit by just 2 Rock Blasts. 3 in 8 chance that would happen. Metronome. I think it's Poison Point on Roselia as well. Iron Defense. I guess if physical moves that also make contact hit it won't take as much damage, and hopefully Poison Point will happen. And the Zigzagoon though, Cotton Spore. Lowering the speed of Roselia, meaning that Zigzagoon will move before Roselia on the following turn. Nothing too major this first turn though. You've yet to see the first real hit. Then again, Rock Blast only hitting twice still dealt decent damage to Zigzagoon. Surf! It's Surfing Pikachu! Haha! Critical hits on the road, Zigzagoon! It's super effective on Colava, but the spread damage means it doesn't take as much damage as you would like, and Rose resists it. Easily the most damage to Zigzagoon. Even Colava and Roselia combined, I think, took less HP damage than Ziggy. Fire Blast from the behind of Colava. Sure, Colava, whatever. Fire Blast from a fire Pokemon. Insta takeout. Auke takes the lead. And Zigzagoon isn't looking too good. Ancient Power. That isn't Colava. That's not good. But Auke needs a good move here to take out Zigzagoon to take that 6-4 lead to have a chance to stay in this tournament. Lick doesn't affect it. Not a normal type. I want to really be the neutral person. But Auke also, I also want Auke to get through to the next stage. Like I don't expect Auke to win the tournament. I never did from the beginning. Especially after I saw two teams full of legendaries and one team with really competitive high base stat total Pokemon. But I definitely want to. I think I've said this previously already. If I do this tournament again, what I think I'll do is I'll give a total base stat total for the full team, randomize 3 Pokemon, which are forced on someone's team, and then that player can then select the other 3. But they have to stay within that base stat total. That forces someone to use some. Let's say they get Articuno and Tyranitar as 2 of their Pokemon, but then they're still forced to use something like Zigzagoon or Metapod on the team as well. Cyndaquil with Fling. Flinging its Leopard Berry, which Leopard Berry does make Fling strong, and it loses its own Leopard Berry, flinging onto its evolution. Like, I don't like you, but thanks for the food. Icicle Spear. Can hit multiple times, but it's resisted, and it's only twice. Flatter confuses him. Really, just one decent hit on Zigzagoon will end it. It will bring in Ho-Oh, but Auke will need to get past Ho-Oh eventually. And the longer he takes to take out Cyndaquil and Zigzagoon, the less chance he has. Because only one of Roselia and Quilava is allowed to be taken out. Because otherwise he'll be out of the tournament. He needs super luck. He needs Imprison. Comet Punch. 2 hits is enough. Zigzagoon down. Lead for Auke 6-4.
It's down and out.
There's Slam. Weakening Quilava further. This Rose has more HP, but is also more frail, although it does have Iron Defense up. Defend Order. Increasing its defense further. +3 defense, +1 special defense. I guess setting itself up for hopefully... If it gets Imprison Roselia, even with Roselia being frail, this could be quite hard to deal with, and it can then Poison Point the others. Might be effective, but here comes Rens' strongest Pokemon, Ho-Oh. Auke needs a way to deal with that and deal with it quickly. Stone Edge, Ancient Power, Hydro Cannon perhaps, but Rock moves are the most effective. Ho-Oh with False Swipe. It has enough power to take out Quilava, but False Swipe never KOs, so Quilava stays at 1 HP. It really wants U-turn right now. It would be awesome for Auke, for Quilava now to get U-turn. And not to get Growl. Like, it lowers the attack power of the others, which I guess for Ho-Oh is especially important. It's not great. Cyndaquil would Dig, which would hit both. Well, it would hit one of them, but can hit both. Rain Dance. For Roselia, that's defensively a good idea, because that fire hits will deal half damage, which it's weak to. Items are back in order. Oh yeah, the Leopard Berry was never eaten by Quilava, was it? No, it did. Otherwise, it wouldn't be at 14 power points. Because it was a Fling. It didn't use its own item, it was the opponent's item. Watch how I'll use Earthquake. And take out this partner. Water Pulse. Boosted by Rain, but still resisted. And the +1 special defense coming into effect here as well. Ooh, confusion. Discharge. Hits how can paralyze it. No, Cyndaquil avoids it because of Dig. Critical hit in the partner. The partners have been getting hit a lot. Getting hit pretty hard with the spread moves. And again, just like the previous time I think we saw Discharge, it's the partner is the only one that gets paralyzed. Poison Point is effective on the Cyndaquil, which is good for Auke, but Roselia hits itself then. Not that much damage because of the +3 defense.
Cyndaquil.
Because it does use its own attack and defense to calculate the damage.
Pouring rain in the Colosseum. I
Auke still has 6 Pokemon, but one is paralyzed and one doesn't have much health. At all. Oh. Worry Seed. Gets rid of Poison Point, but it doesn't deal damage. Auke's happy. Lava then. Revenge! For getting hit twice by that Cyndaquil, but it wasn't yet hit this turn, so no double damage. Cyndaquil will take out its evolution by hitting it a 3rd time. It tries to use Grassels, but it doesn't work.
missed. Roselia still can't move.
Roselia can't move. It said still can't move before it even got the fully paralyzed thing, so I guess the game knows before we do, because otherwise that sound wouldn't have started. A decent turn for Auke, but it needs better. It needs to take out Ho-Oh. Auke needs Stone Edge, Roll Out, things like that. Or Rock Blast, which misses from Ho-Oh. Shoot Rock Blast back.
Will lava transform?
Could be good. Problem is, the only thing it doesn't copy is HP, so you're still at 1 HP. Outside of that, it's good. Watch it. Yeah. Ho-Oh is dead to Cyndaquil.
Rushing blow.
Otherwise, it might have been able to make use of its new speed to move before the other Ho-Oh on a speed tie, and then deal some better damage than it would have been able to as Kolava, but Auke still leads 5-4. Auke still could win. But the moment this Roselia goes down, and it hit itself in confusion again just now, and it's paralyzed, the moment that Roselia goes down, Auke is out of the tournament. The match will continue, and he'll still try to win, but Auke will be out of the tournament. And Cyndaquil did end up taking its evolution, even if it looked different for just a moment. Mega Monkey, one of Auke's better Pokemon. Let's see what it can do in this rain. Cyndaquil will eventually go down to the poison, so Auke really wants to focus on Ho-Oh. Secret Power, decent move. Not sure what the side effect is on this Colosseum. Nightshade, 50 damage. Cyndaquil gets another turn. Shadow Punch, another ghost move against Infernape. Cyndaquil's been pretty good in this fight. I had a confusion for Miss Rose, but then doesn't get fully paralyzed, so Presence. I was about to say, if that's the healing one. But it damages the Cyndaquil. Furthering Auke's lead to 5-3, but Auke really doesn't care much about, ooh, I have a 2 Pokemon advantage. Auke just cares about, I can't lose another Pokemon. Ho-Oh, Firth, and Absol need to go down before any of Auke's Pokemon do. So Auke would love a Whirlwind or Roar on Miss Rose. Or Miss Rose using U-Turn. Because not only does that send in something that's full in HP, actually, it would then send out Chupa, the Pachirisu, which isn't that much higher base out total than Roselia, but at least it would send out something with more HP, and that isn't paralyzed.
Infernape starts to attack. It hit 2 Pokemon at once.
Embargo for the 2nd time. I think it was this fight already. That embargo happened, yeah. At least it's not in prison. Ho-Oh with Swords Dance up. Uh-oh.
Roselia cannot move.
And Roselia again can't move. There's the roar of Roselia! And this is not a choice about who's sent out. This could be Tyranitar or Flareon. It is still Chupa. Roselia now goes to the back of the team, although there is a Tyranitar on the team, so it'll still be out before Tyranitar. Auke's done. Alright, Parasong. So unless we see another Whirlwind or Roar, two of them, a combination of two Roars, Whirlwinds, or U-turns to switch out Auke's Pokemon. Auke has 3 turns to take out 3 Pokemon to make it to stage 2. Three turns, 3 Pokemon. Where's that Stone Edge? At least one of Ferd and Ho needs to be down
The trainers haven't given their orders yet.
next turn at the latest to stand a chance. And that's just chance. It's very low chance, but it's chance. Close combat for it. Rock Blast. Ho-Oh. Not Mega Drain. Ho, that doesn't work.
Solid hit, but this is not a favorable match.
The thing is, Auke will, with Parasong active, Auke's even more likely to win because it'll give Auke the 2v1 scenario after Parasong, but that won't make him win the group. Rens actually will really dislike that this happened, the Parasong. But Van Grants will love it, because not only does that mean Rens will be beaten, therefore Van Grant stays above Rens in the standings, but it also means Auke won't have enough points, not enough tiebreaker points to beat Van Grants. So Van Grants loves this.
Pachirisu became confused.
Van Grants might just make it through, which I didn't expect. Rens had the better chances, but we're not there yet. The game's not over till the last card is played.
The count of Parasong falls by 1.
Confused Pachirisu as well because of Dynamic Punch. If Furz and Ho-Oh both survive this turn, Auke's out of the tournaments, because then he can't KO the final Pokemon on the final turn.
Well, both corners still have a chance to win this.
If both Ho and Furz survive this full turn, Auke's out. Van Grant isn't necessarily through, because now Rens can still win. But at least Auke's out. Rock Smash, fighting move on Furret.
A harsh blow.
Not enough. Pachirisu needs to get through confusion and hit it really hard.
Defense fell.
This is it. Does get to attack. It's Parasong. That doesn't cancel it out like Trick Room does. Unless Explosion happens on Furret, but
Furret finished.
Shadow Force. We need a self-KO move. Nope, Auke's out. Auke can still win the fight and is still likely to win the fight, but Auke is out of the tournament. Auke will not make it through because... Well, actually... Not quite.
The battle rages on. Which corner will make the attack that could
Auke can still get out with a combination of U-turn, Roar, and Whirlwind. If both of his Pokemon switch out by moves this turn, and I think only U-turn for the Pokemon themselves, which then have to hit the Ho-Oh because Ferd's Shadow Forcing. Or Ho-Oh using Roar or Whirlwind, which Ferd can't do because again it's Shadow Forcing. That's how Auke can avoid the Parasong. And actually have a 2v1 scenario with a healthier Pokemon against just one Absol. Chances are extremely slim. They both need to switch out this turn. Super Power, which would have been epic last turn.
the opponent.
Okay. We need a U-turn. Okay, it's actually over now. Because one of them needed to U-turn at least. I was hoping. It was super low chance, but yeah.
Complete destruction by
Mega Monkey goes down to Shadow Force, which doesn't really matter because Parasong would have done it anyway. Auke's still likely going to win the fight, and he'll do his best to win that sibling war. But like the turn was a turn 2 or turn 3 in President Van Grant's game, and the fact that his Rose Raid had so many powerful moves, Leaf Blade, Poison Jab, Overheat, Spore, in that game very early on. That's what helped Van Grant win, but yeah, this KO And then Inferno down. Even if Auke wins at 3-0 now, he'll be 2 points behind Van Grant's tiebreaker. Auke's likely to win this match. Which means, just like in last group, because Van Grant's won this one, we won't have someone without a win. Everyone in group 1 won at least once, and they already had that by the time round 2 ended. Van Grant and Auke were the only ones in this group that hadn't won yet. At this point it's only Auke, but it's a 2v1 scenario with still one Pokemon in the back. And because Tyranitar does set up Damaging Weather with its ability, Miss Rose is sent out now as opposed to after it. Because Damaging Weather is always lost. Unless a Pokemon with Drought or Drizzle is on the team. In which case that comes after the weather damaging Pokemon. If a weather damaging Pokemon is not on the team, then Kyogre or Groudon with Drought and Drizzle can be at any point in the team. Bone Rush, physical contact, multiple chances for Poison Point, I believe. Neither of them trigger. Absol's lucky. Flareon with strength and specializing in physical attack. Almost half health. And Sandstorm is yet to come in when Tyranitar sent out, so Absol's not looking good. Fire Punch from Roselia. Good move. Now Roselia doesn't have its defense boost that it had earlier, but oh, that burn, that means 1/6. Oh wait, the Sandstorm's already active from just standard Sandstorm. We just take out Miss Rose. It damages Absol even more. It's going to take another 1/8 of its health, I think. Yeah, because in this generation, it's still 1/8 of the damage for burn. And here comes Reiner. And actually, because Tyranitar came out when Sandstorm was already active, its ability Sandstream doesn't activate. Never mind, it does. I thought it wouldn't activate and therefore it wouldn't be permanent, but now that it did, it is still permanent. Actually, I want to look that up. Sandstream activates anyway. Summons its Sandstorm. Okay, no. And burn, I know, is 1/8 of the health as damage. But which generation was that changed again? Gen 7. You're not certain yet, Scorp. It's very likely, but actually, with Burn and Sandstorm active, that's extremely likely. Also, the physical attack of Absol's halved.
Absol starts to attack.
Absol uses Pound, gets one more hit in before Flareon likely will finish it off. Nope, Metal Sound is going to leave it to Tyranitar to give Tyranitar one final move in the tournament before that team will leave the tournament stage. And Rens, after looking good with a round 1 win against Van Grants, just like what happened to Random, they lose the group. Last place for Rens with this loss. But Auke won't get higher than 3rd because even with 4 points, they lose the tiebreaker to Van Grants. Kimono and Van Grants move on in the tournament. And this is where it becomes important because I remember saying that Challenge may see a tie as no points because it wasn't a win. The thing is, without having entered the Auke via Rens score, it does list Van Grants above Rens. But they both have had a win, and Van Grants maybe is just listed higher because of the tiebreaker. Auke got a 2-0 win. Ah, I forgot the timer. Would have been around a 22-minute. Question mark, question mark. Let's just enter that. Auke does win 2-0. which means, yeah, it gives it to Van Grans. Van Grans and then Auke third. So maybe as a hidden stat, it does give ties, give a point to people who tie. Or because Van Grans, Auke, and Rens all won once, and Rens now has the worst tiebreaker, that's what happens. But whatever the reason, Rens is last, and Kimono and Van Grans are through in Group 2. So that also means we know 2 of the matchups in the quarterfinals already, which I'll mention right now. The first, I think it's the first match in the bracket, or at least the first one we know of. The winner from Group A, Auke, will in the quarterfinals face the second one from Group B, Van Grans. Then at the other end of the bracket, so no chance of these teams facing each other in the semifinal. The other end of the bracket, second player from A, Auke's GF, will face Kimono. Would have been interesting if Auke's GF faced Auke, even though that's not my GF at all. The player that made that, but they wanted to call the character that. So that's what we know now. Auke's out of the tournament. He did win the sibling rivalry and ended up higher in the standings.